And famously similar shows with famously similar vibes.
Yeah, totally.
Mamma Mia and Hadestown. Could you do the story of Hadestown with the music of ABBA?
They're both Greek.
They are both Greek! Oh my god, hey! Welcome back to my theatre-themed YouTube channel. My name is Mickey Jo, and I am obsessed with all things theatre, which is why I have been dedicatedly watching Mamma Mia, I Have a Dream every weekend on ITV1, the brand new TV casting show which is searching for the next actors who will play Sophie and Sky in the West End production of Mamma Mia at the Novello Theatre, as it prepares to celebrate its 25th anniversary in the West End. Nailed it! Today I am very excited to be joined by this series' first international guest, all the way from Colorado. And can I say you're from Colorado?
You can.
We have Kate Ranking. Come join me from the floor.
Hello!
Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
So you're here as part of a trip to London, seeing a bunch of shows.
Yes.
And we saw Mamma Mia this week.
We did see Mamma Mia this week.
On Monday matinee.
Yeah, which I hear is not usual.
It's not usual for that show to have a Monday matinee, or honestly for any show to have a Monday matinee, but we're assuming, this hasn't been said, we're assuming it's because the live final for this show is literally being filmed on this coming Sunday at the Novello Theatre. They would normally have a performance, and so that's been displaced, so they did a Monday matinee of all things instead. But it was the best way to pre-game Diana the Musical.
It's perfect you should have.
Yeah, and you got to see Maz Murray belting The Winner Takes It All.
Yeah, on a Monday matinee.
Yeah. Zero chill. She has only one level, and that's all she can do.
And she took it all.
She
like
did.
a winner.
She did. So where can the people find you on social media? What kind of things do you do on social media?
I'm mostly on TikTok, where I'm Theatre is Life. I'm also on YouTube as Theatre is Life.
Were you Theatre is Life before Ted Lasso, or is that a Ted Lasso inspired? I've never asked you this. I don't know.
Is Theatre is Life in Ted Lasso?
No, but they said, like, Football is Life is the big Ted Lasso thing.
Oh.
And I discovered you after I'd watched Ted Lasso, so I was like, it must be a take on that, but is it not?
It's not.
Theatre has always been life, prior to Jason Sudeikis.
It's always been a hashtag that I've used on my other socials that are not Theatre is Life.
Oh. I really thought it was... So you should sue them, is what I'm hearing.
I should, yeah. Because Is Life is just for me.
Is Life is... Yeah, nothing else.
No one's ever used that in history.
And you recently did a little guest documentary for our friend Brendan at Wait in the Wings.
Yeah.
Talking all about Sondheim shows and their historical lack of commercial success.
Correct.
Yeah. Go and watch that if you haven't already. Lots of crossover interest between that and Mamma Mia, I Have a Dream episode.
Yes, definitely. Sondheim, Mamma Mia. It's like two birds. That's not a metaphor that works.
Do we think he liked... I'm sure he's commented on Mamma Mia before.
Oh, now I have to know. Did Sondheim like Mamma Mia?
I can't imagine that he did, but I'm sure he said something about it. If we Google Sondheim Mamma Mia, this can't have a lot of results. I imagine he had the capacity to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah.
What did he always say about form?
Content dictates form.
Yeah, and I would say the content in Mamma Mia dictates the form.
Yeah. You're saying you couldn't do, like, Sweeney Todd with the songs of ABBA?
You could not.
I would go and see it, though.
Mrs. Lovett singing Money, Money, Money.
Again, I wish I hadn't. You know what? Joanna is literally just Sophie under different circumstances.
Yes.
Like, had she been raised in Greece by a strong single parent, her life would have gone very differently.
She was raised by a strong single parent. Who wants to marry her.
I know how I just have this image of Judge Turpin just, like, in the overalls with a power drill.
No.
Anyway, what we're actually talking about today is the most recent episode of Mamma Mia, I Have a Dream, the semi-final. And the final episode that would take place entirely on location in Corfu or wherever that. Do you know what? Like 8 weeks of doing this, I haven't attempted to fact check and Google where it is. I've been told. They told us at the press.
It's in Greece. I don't know.
Somewhere in Greece. Somewhere that's Greece. Let me refer to my notes. This is going very well.
Far too many notes for my taste.
I literally thought that was just a dig, and then I got what the reference was. I was like, what a needlessly rude thing to say. Well, I do have a lot of notes.
It's a lot of notes.
You're not in craze. I wrote that it opened with a dramatic orchestral rendition of Does Your Mother Know, like it was Star Wars.
I didn't even notice that.
It's not unfamiliar of the show because, like, you'd seen Mamma Mia before we went to see it on Monday?
Yes.
But had you seen that production or like a regional or community?
I saw the national tour in the US.
Okay.
Which was
because our other friend Ashley seemed taken aback by the power of the overture and entr'acte. That they're very intense.
They're very dramatic. They're very...
It's not what you expect when you're like fun, light ABBA musical.
No.
And they're not really representative of the rest of the show. They're very like da 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 da. It's like ABBA crossed with the Imperial March.
I never thought of it that way, but that's 100% an accurate description.
It's exactly what it is. Once again, big feature of The Breakfast. I don't know why I've turned to you for input here.
Big feature of The Breakfast.
They always show what they're eating for breakfast. Stevie was spreading some sort of Nutella on bread.
Oh, yeah, the Nutella and bread.
Yeah.
It's a good combo, actually.
You say it right. We say it wrong here, because it is Nutella.
Well, how do you say it?
Nutella. I promise you everyone in the UK, unless they're being really self-important about its accuracy or unless they are physically Belgian, says Nutella. Just like Nutella.
But it's Nutella.
It is Nutella.
Wow.
You are correct.
Wow. The Americans do one thing right, and that is pronounce Nutella.
And then, oh my gosh, highlight of the episode, like, as excited as I was for Maz Murray last week being an icon, they had a video message from, as she was credited, global icon Cher.
Cher, yeah.
Literal Cher.
That was great.
And it's like, I'm really glad they did them in this order, because if I'd already had a video message from Cher and then they subsequently showed something from Amanda Seyfried and Dominic Cooper, I would care less.
Yeah.
Like, all the love to those actors, but...
I know it's such a surprise because she's not even in the first film.
And I guess it's to, like, inspire and embolden them. I personally would never shut up about it.
Yeah.
In my entire life. And I
That'd
feel
be
like
it.
I could go on to achieve anything.
I wouldn't even have to win the show. I'd just be like, I got a video message from Cher.
Yeah. Cher said, I know audition process is terrifying. Cher has... How many decades do you think it's been since Cher has auditioned really for anything?
Has Cher ever auditioned for anything?
I think probably for, like, when she was first breaking into films and trying to, like, prove herself. They, like, probably had her come in and read. Was she not meant to be attached to a version of Into the Woods? There was, like, a 90s film adaptation of Into the Woods that never got made.
This is the first that I'm hearing of it, but who would she have played? The witch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously.
I mean, it's the 90s. So
no, she was Milky White.
I didn't know if she would have been young enough to play the baker's wife, but that would have been weird casting.
Yeah. Oh, you're not even ready for the full gravity of this, because I thought this, but I didn't want to say it in case I was wrong. It was going to be with the Muppets. It was going to be Into the Woods with partial Muppets and partial adults.
I'm mad we didn't get this now.
They had a reading. Robin Williams was the baker.
What?
Goldie Hawn was the baker's wife. Steve Martin was the wolf. Danny DeVito was the giant. Elijah Wood.
As Jack?
Or Milky White. Again, I don't know. Roseanne Barr, Bebe Neuwirth, Mayim Bialik, Brendan Fraser, Kyle MacLachlan, and Michael Jeter. And I honestly, I don't know. That leaves very little room for Muppets.
Yeah, I was like, the Muppets are Milky White.
But that's a combination of things I feel like we need to see anyway.
Yeah.
Like, some sort of like a Cher featuring the Muppets.
Absolutely, 100%.
Again. What about Mamma Mia with Cher and also the Muppets? Judy Kramer wants to make a Mamma Mia 3.
Yeah.
Where it's assumed that Cher will...
Cher would be in it, yeah.
Be back. Should there be Muppets in Mamma Mia 3? I guess that's the question I'm building to.
Wouldn't it be Cher's wedding?
I mean, that's the slow... I know it's not an ABBA pun, but like Mamma Mia 3, Cher's wedding. She does have a character... I could not tell you what her character name is in that second film.
Grandma.
Just Grandma Cher. Now, for this episode, they were singing as individuals, which I think was a good decision, because so close to the final, I think everyone deserves... for their last chance to get into that final to be just on their own merits and not as part of like a does this pairing work. Although I think the last 6 are all pretty strong and we've had a lot of combinations, but we did have them paired up for a mini challenge.
Yes.
And I have prepared some couple nicknames as I have been doing these past few weeks that I feel like you're going to have some strong opinions about. We disagree on a lot of things, like theatrically at least. So I don't have high hopes for this. We had Owen and Esme. All you can really do with this is Osme.
Yeah.
That's really all you can do.
That's perfect.
Tobias and Stevie, Tobivi.
That's also perfect.
I'm nailing it this week. I feel less good about this one. Craig and Stephanie becomes Crefany. It is better than Steig.
It is better than steak.
Although I think we did Steig. Oh, Stevie and Craig became Steig, which Aaron liked because it sounded like stage. Like stagey, like staggy.
Staggy.
We're going to stick with Crefany.
Yeah. I like it better.
Yeah. And they're all getting married. All of them getting married. They showed a little clip of the wedding from Mamma Mia with a hefty spoiler, if people didn't already know the plot of Mamma Mia.
Oh, yeah.
Now you do. It barely matters. You already know that you're going
There's
to love
a plot in Mamma Mia.
I know. I've heard rumours. And so their challenge was to write their own vows in character for this wedding that never actually occurs in the show, which is why it can't just be like an acting challenge with the show's own script, because as we saw on Monday, they basically, as soon as they get there, the understudy Father Alexander starts the wedding, and then Sophie's like, no, we're going to go change into like backpacking neutrals with
Our Dora the Explorer outfits.
one backpack each, and then go and travel the world as the moon slowly comes in. That got me, was the speed of that moon. I know this show opened in the 90s, but can we get a slightly faster moon?
It's the speed of the actual moon. It's very accurate.
Because I like the Lion King moment where like the sun slowly rises as like those 90s office blinds with a nice light on them. That's exactly what that is.
That's exactly.
And then, I was just like, this slow moon that's just like, moon. And I can focus on absolutely, like, they're singing beautifully and, like, holding hands and walking into the distance. All I can think about is this moon slowly.
I mean, would another speed be better, though? Like, if it just dropped?
It's like, bam. I hadn't considered that. I do like that it covered some of, and here's the thing, because this feels sacrilegious. I like Mamma Mia as a show. I have a fun time. I respect it for what it is. I do not like the blue stripes that wrap around three sides of the stage.
I agree.
They remind me of, if anyone used Microsoft Word really like back in the dawn of Microsoft Office, with word art you had like 6, you didn't have the luxury you do now. You had like 6 predetermined fill patterns that you could do with word art. There was like a bubbly one, and there was this blue stripy one.
It looked exactly like
That's what I think of every time. Every time I see this show and I'm like, where is the paperclip to tell me what to do with this document?
It looks like you're finding your father's. Can I help?
Anyway, back to... I just got that. Back to the mini challenge. I said this is the kind of actory stuff that I hate. Is them having to, like, write something in their character's own voice that's a wedding vow. It's like the whole, like, drama school speak this song as a monologue.
That's my favorite exercise.
But do you not think, like, bar the winner takes it all, or, like, One of Us, if you were to do that with an ABBA song, if you were to be like, is there a man out there? Someone, like...
It works. I think it's always a good exercise.
Voulez-vous, like, I challenge you to give me a dramatic reading of the likes of, like, Voulez-vous.
Of which I can think of no lyrics right now.
It's like, ain't no big decision. You know what to do. La question? C'est voulez-vous.
Yeah.
People everywhere. They're just everywhere. The sense of
expectations.
It's
just hanging
in the air. Hate it so much. Owen seemed very stressed about marrying Esme. I don't know if someone told him this challenge was legally binding. I don't think Alan Carr, who was officiating, I don't think he's actually ordained.
I hope not. Otherwise, we have 3 new couples.
If you had to have one of, like, the judges or host of this program officiate, like, your wedding, who would you choose?
One of the judges?
Yeah.
Probably Amber Riley.
I was going to say Amber Riley. But, like, only if, like, I have no attachments to, like, a gospel church, but I feel like if, like, that's suddenly what I would want that ceremony to become.
She would have to sing.
Yeah. Oh, obviously. Obviously. Immediately, before we even show him, I know for a fact that Tobias is taking this too seriously. Or, like, maybe, like, appropriately seriously. But he is really... If any of them are having, like, a fun time, like, oh, this silly challenge, writing some vows, he is like, this is what lies between me and my goals. Because we've seen throughout the series, he can be a little bit competitive. And I love... Honestly, I like, same. If I had the talent level to back that up, I would probably be similarly competitive. Then we cut to the actual weddings. Jessie Ware still not there because she'd been off performing in your homeland, land of the free, home of the brave.
She was in the US?
She was.
Wow.
Yeah, not specifically Colorado, but like...
She was like, I don't think so. I actually saw her at the grocery store.
I believe she was in New York. Zoe Ball living her Donna from Mamma Mia fantasy, walking them all down the aisle. I don't think that's stunt casting that we can expect in the West End after Maz Murray, if Maz Murray ever leaves.
Hopefully not. Maz Murray's perfect.
Yeah.
That's her role now.
Yeah, that's just what she does. Esme, I enjoy Esme a lot. I wrote, and I can say this, having been one my entire life, a little bit of a teacher's pet, because she put that little smoking line in her vows, which is a nod to the lyrics from Lay All Your Love on Me, when she's like... You've heard me, when Sky sings, you've heard me saying that smoking was my only vice. And so she put a line in her vows being like, even if I can't convince you to quit smoking, wink.
I didn't even catch that. That's like, brilliant.
I did the homework. I did my required reading.
So who's taking it too seriously now?
Yeah. Literally. And then they got messages from family and friends. There's nothing you want more than to have your real life romantic partner send you a video message while you're pretending to get married to someone else.
That was great.
Yeah. But they cried. I cried. I wrote here, literally, like, when your boyfriend Skypes into your wedding to a random Irish man.
Though I was thinking, like, it seemed like they had been without their families for weeks. And how long had they actually been in Greece at that point?
Like, probably at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
Maybe 3. I think if every episode takes, like, a couple days and they have some time off. I don't know. Maybe they went to Greece because there's no labour laws and they just worked them tirelessly the entire time.
Because, like, I've been in London for a week. If my family sent me a message right now, I wouldn't cry.
They all had... I wrote, and I'm stepping on Ellie's toes here because she's probably going to talk about this in her fashion segment. They did all have the same ugly wedding dress.
They did.
I said it was like the Sutton Foster episode of Say Yes to the Dress all over again. Have you seen the Sutton Foster episode of Say Yes to the Dress? God, she looks like a napkin holder. And it's quirky. It's individual, and she really enjoyed it, and that's all that matters. She said yes to the dress. It's not about me saying yes to the dress. It is about Tony Award winner Sutton Foster saying yes to the dress. But she did look like she was ready to go on during Be Our Guest as, like, dancing napkins number 3. These ones just look like... is it a loofah? Do you call it a loofah in the US?
Yeah.
Do we call it a loofah?
What do you call it?
I don't know.
The thing in the back.
Yeah, that's what they looked like at this wedding, but they all looked like one, so it's, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't a good dress.
It was fine. Oh, we said, what show is Stephanie's boyfriend in tech for?
Oh, yeah.
Because he was clearly in costume, outdoors,
backstage,
with a microphone on his head, so we looked this up, and this was, I believe, the GSA, one of the GSA final year shows. He was in Crybaby, and he is now, funnily enough, in the ensemble of Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
He is literally, like, second cover Sky. So... There you go. There are other ways to get into this musical. You do not have to go to Greece and...
You can audition.
You can audition, yes. Owen was very natural. Yeah. Esme, a little bit less so. Tobias and Stevie, very emotional, very believable wedding connection between the two of them. I can't remember Stephanie and Craig's wedding.
It was kind of awkward.
Was a little... Yeah. I have no memories.
Yeah.
Of this. This is like a wedding I drank a lot at, and I can't remember the ceremony itself.
They also went first, so I feel like...
It was a weird challenge. I'm going to cut them a break on this one, because it's a weird It's a weird situation to be in. But anyway, we cut to the real meat of the episode, which is the actual vocal performances, where obviously I've made important notes about Judy Kramer's necklace and just in general the glam budget on the judges for this one episode, because they've looked nice thus far, but we can only assume that they had like several £1,000s of leftover glam budget.
They looked great.
Yeah, but it was big swings for just an evening of outdoor song.
They definitely did not look
Corfu.
like they were going to an event outdoors in Greece.
Yeah. So first up we had Craig, and he had fun. He was immediately having fun, which is something I think they've been wanting to see from Craig this whole time. We weren't wholly convinced by the vocal choices.
Yeah.
There were some dubious numbers. I'm stalling for time because I cannot remember the song he was singing.
I know. I was like, wait, what was he singing?
Was it Take a Chance on Me?
Yeah, because I remember he started behind the judges because
Yeah.
they start behind the judges. I think you're right. I think it was Take a Chance on Me because
I'm
he sang
happy
it
to
to
Google.
everybody in the audience.
And he gave it like his trademark rocky twist. Because vocally, he's strong vocally, if a little bit tonally ill-fitted to Mamma Mia. Because he's more of like a rock guy. He'd been in Bad Out of Hell, the Jim Steinman and
I was
Meatloaf
thinking
musical.
We Will Rock You, you know.
Yeah.
Rock
Very...
of Ages. Do they do Rock of Ages in the UK?
Yeah, we've had Rock of Ages.
Okay.
Have you had Bat Out of Hell?
We had it for like 2 seconds, and I think it was in Vegas. I
Sure.
did not see it.
That makes perfect sense for Bat Out of Hell, honestly. You would have, I don't know if loved is the right word, but you would have had a lot to say about Bat Out of Hell, for sure. They push a car into the orchestra pit.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to.
There's
I
a
need
car
to
on
see
stage
that.
and they just push it into for no reason. They do this 8-minute song in this car, and then they just push it into the orchestra pit at the end, and everyone's like, "Yay!" And I'm like, "Why?" There's an underwater costume change. Someone jumps into a pool of water, is fully submerged, re-emerges in different clothes.
Oh, I absolutely need to see this.
Yeah. Craig seemed very receptive in rehearsal with Anthony Van Last and Martin Lowe. Anthony Van Last being the choreographer. I made a joke a few weeks ago about him wearing 2 hats in one of the the behind the scenes clips in the episode. He's in the program for Mamma Mia. He's wearing 2 glasses. What is with this man and his duplicate headwear choices?
I mean, glasses make sense because, you know, one for reading, one for, I don't know.
But in the headshot, Kate ranking, was the photographer not like, Anthony, do you want to lose one of the pairs of glasses?
You know,
Was he in a rush? Was it like school photo day?
You know what? It's probably the first time I've ever paid attention to the choreographer's headshot, so it worked.
He's like, they will look at me.
Yeah.
And Martin Lowe, who we haven't really mentioned, kind of unsung hero of this show, but has been working with all of them on all of their vocal choices and all of that stuff. But yeah, Craig, he had fun.
It was definitely one of my more favorite performances of his.
Yeah.
So I think
I think there are definitely... I want him to now be cast in the shows that are right for him. But for this moment, I did write, you can't make it Bat Out of Greece, no matter how hard you screlled.
I almost feel like, you know, he should wait 5-10 years and play Harry.
I literally had said in one of the earlier episodes of this that he seems like someone who would be an ensemble cover dad.
Yeah.
Who's like a bit young for it. But why Harry specifically?
Isn't he the rocker?
Yes. But
The
it's
former
like
rocker.
it's like a visual joke because he so doesn't feel like a rocker. Like, I don't know, is he like...
But I also get that from Craig where like he starts singing and I'm like, oh, that's not the voice I expected out of you. In a good way.
Does it raise serious questions if like one of the dads is too hot?
No.
Well, like if he's discernibly younger and like more attractive than
I
the
mean,
other
that's
two.
basically the production we saw where Sam is like so much hotter.
Like the 3 of them turn up and she's like, oh, I hope you're my dad, I hope you're my dad, and I hope you are not my dad. It's Mamma Mia with 3 potential daddies. Next up we had Owen. So interestingly, starting with just like all of the skies, getting them out of the way, because it's a smaller part.
It is.
We've said this just about every week on here, but it does bear repeating. Having again seen the show,
It's so small.
I wonder if they're going to change the bows, because as it currently stands, they bow twice. The whole cast bows twice. because they all come in and bow, finishing with like Donna and Sophie, and then everyone but them leaves the stage. Donna and Sophie bow again, and then they bring everyone back on in reverse order to bow another time. And Sky in one of those sections bows with the ensemble. Like, he does not get a principal bow. And again, our friend Ashley thought that was the funniest thing, considering they have this series where they're like Sky and Sophie, the two biggest leads in the West End, like Phantom, who it's these two. Although Phantom's a great example because he's on stage for 15 minutes and he bows last. Lip syncs in Skull Mask. Turns up for like maybe 20-25 minutes of stage time. Has several pre-recorded songs. Paid very well, bows at the end.
You know what? It's an iconic role.
He spends more time getting facial prosthetics than he spends on stage. It's the equivalent of like getting ready for a party for an hour that you only stay out for 20 minutes. Back to Owen, who was performing maybe my least favourite ABBA song ever.
Wow. I don't even remember what he's saying.
It was When All Is Said and Done.
Oh, yes, yes.
Brosnan does it in the film. Is it in the stage show? I don't remember this happening in the stage show. Brosnan does it in the film at their like wedding reception. Because he like looks at Streep and says, they have that line about being like, in this life we have walked some brave and noble treks, something else, and not too old for sex. And Owen, fully mid-20s, who is performing this with one of the ensemble dancers, fully mid-20s, still sings that line. And I'm like, why? And it's an awkward rhyme to try and reconstruct, but just about crawled out of my skin. It did allow him to bring slightly more sincerity than we usually see.
Yeah, I really liked his performance.
It was lovely. And the judges said that, like, it surprised them in many ways because for this to be a semi-final, like, give us everything you've got, it was restrained, which was appropriate for the song. He made a lot of, like, subtle and gentle choices, which I appreciate. I think thus far, everyone was showing the side of themselves they needed to, because Craig early on had been very, like, professional and poised, and they wanted to see more fun. He showed fun this week. I think he showed everything he could. Owen showed that sincerity and that vulnerability that we hadn't quite seen in some of his, like, slightly more camp and goofy performances.
Yeah, which is interesting because Sky will never have to use that in the show.
No.
But I do think, especially on these reality shows, the slower songs usually fall flat for me, and this was actually really great.
There you go. There you go. Finally, last of the boys was Tobias. I wrote, great vocal, horrible sleeve length.
Oh, that's right. It was like the weird, like, caps.
It's neither, like, a full short sleeve or a sleeveless. It's like, it's that diagonal. It's that 45-degree, like, early 2000s. I hate it. I hate it.
Early 2000s, that's Mamma Mia.
That is the fashion of Mamma Mia. Can we talk about the fact that we put on a West End Live clip the other day of one of the former Sophies performing Name the Game, and you were like, why is she wearing that ugly green top? And we were like, that is not hers, that is from the show.
It is from the show, and when it showed up in the show, I was like, no! And it's worse on stage than it was in that clip.
It's worse in person.
It's like, it looks like these leaves that are all over, and each of them has like a little tassel, but it's like a thick tassel, and it's so distracting and so ugly, and it looks like an incomplete shirt. It's the kind of fashion that's from the late 90s, early 2000s that you hope never comes back.
It looks like one of those, like, ancient, like, Egyptian or Roman, like, when they had, like, things made out of coins.
Yeah, yeah.
Tobias was giving us, dare I say, sexy in this.
Yeah.
And which I don't normally, because I'm a very repressed British person, and I regretted it instantly. He was giving us a little bit of Does Your Mother Know? Which I think I told you at the time, I once heard played 12 times back-to-back on a precarious gay pride float in the Bournemouth Gay Pride Parade, which was basically a converted milk van without sides that was driving at full speed in traffic. And that was the name of the gay bar, because it's DYMK. Shout out to Bournemouth Gay Bar, DYMK, aka...
That is a great name for a gay bar, though.
Does Your Mother Know? It is. It's a solid name for a gay bar. They did make him dance next to former Magic Mike Live alumnus Matt Jordan, who, like, it does this on TikTok. Very good, like, street dancer and, like, urban contemporary thing. Tobias, I thought, still carried it off well.
Yeah.
But it's one of those where it's, like, guy fronting the dance at the front who is not maybe, like, the same exceptional caliber of dancer as the people around him. But he did a great job. It was also... It made me think that he is probably the most Dominic Cooper-like. And it's taken me all season to see this, because I hadn't thought about him that way. But it took this number to think, maybe this is why he feels like a frontrunner. I mean, he's also very talented.
Yeah.
But in these shows, historically, the audience do tend to ultimately vote for the people who are most familiar of the roles, like aesthetically and tonally. And I think that helps him that he is very Dominic Cooper-like. Yeah. But he is also a lot like, again, having seen the show on Monday, he's a lot like Miles Henderson.
He's so much like him. There were moments in watching the show where I was like, oh, it's Tobias. It's like...
How early on were you backing Tobias? Because I think we said week one.
Week one, yeah. My favorites week one were Tobias and Owen, but Tobias number one, and then Stevie and Maddie.
Interesting. Next up, we moved over to the girls. We started with Stephanie, who was giving us a little bit of Angel Eyes, which I said is not really the same without Christine Baranski doing that high kick moment. But again, they weren't flying her to Greece.
Angel Eyes may be my least favorite ABBA song.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Not enough. It doesn't have the sufficient nuance and depth that you've come to expect from the songs of ABBA.
Yeah, it just feels like too choral, like.
Stephanie does still have, and they always give her a lot of choreo, and she's a strong triple threat. She does, week on week, seem to have this slight vocal fatigued quality when she is dancing at the same time. It does feel like the choreo overtakes the vocal stamina just a little bit.
There's something in her performances that I've never been able to connect to.
It was a little, I wrote Rachel Berry, because it was a little bit of those, like, I am very talented, and giving you this performance, I just don't know if there was like an emotional connection or like a meaning behind the eyes. It's like she's hitting everything, she's doing everything technically very, very well. It just, like a little bit of depth. And again, Angel Eyes is not the song where it's like, let me pour out my heart and soul, like, look into his angel eyes.
For me, it's like I can see her acting.
Yeah, it's also like... Because Maz Murray had said in the previous week that she was very musical theatre and not necessarily very pop. She doesn't really have much of an edge to her. She's more like Disney princess.
Yes.
Which is not a bad thing.
And I do wonder too, because we are seeing her perform on TV, and you can see the nuances and see like people thinking through stuff more clearly on TV, and so that stuff just gets exacerbated. That I probably wouldn't notice that in her performance if I was sitting in an audience.
Yeah, we'd started saying in the past couple of weeks, it feels like there are great shows for her, but again, Mamma Mia might not be the show for her. Mamma Mia, The Party at the O2, which you have yet to experience the full glory of, but she'd be great in that. Then we had Stevie, who I've been rooting for the past couple of weeks, and she's had a real rise through this competition. She had, they didn't do bottom twos in that first week of just the girls, but had they, it felt as though from the comments that she would have been in the bottom two alongside Maddie.
My favourites.
That was how the cards fell that week.
At this point I don't even remember week one. I just know that they instantly were my favorite.
Yeah. And what was interesting is she got an actual Sophie song. Now, Tobias had the closest thing to a Sky solo because he had a song that... Well, he got a Tanya solo, actually, from...
It's like there's one Sky solo in the show.
But it's a song that the boys are involved in. So it felt like... Because, like, Take a Chance on Me is Rosie and Bill, and Owen's song is, like, Sam in the film. So Sky's was, like, the closest to being one of the boys.
Despite Sky being the only boy not in that song.
Yes. Angel Eyes, not in the show. It's in the second film. But Stevie sang Name of the Game, which is a full... Like, Sophie fully sings that song in the show. And thus far, they haven't really let anyone sing Sophie material solo. So she got a little bit of a boost there.
A little bit.
I think that was helpful. We've seen in these shows, again in previous seasons, and previous TV shows, that they do... Some people seem to get better songs allocated to them than others. Maybe even on this show we've seen over the past few weeks.
Interesting. I wonder if they wanted to give her a boost, or if... Because they talk about this a lot on the show, and I agree. She feels like she's the greenest. And so wanting to see her actually sing one of the Sophie songs.
She was really acting through song on this one, and I enjoyed that she was really asking the question. She was like, what is the name of the game?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if in excerpts I've seen from the show, like, they really ask the question, but she's just like, she really wants to know what the name of the game is. Like,
She's
that's what I took from
that
this.
song.
She is desperate. She will not leave until she knows what the name of the game is. When I first heard that song as a child, I thought it was about actual games. Like Yahtzee.
What game are we playing? What is the name of the game?
Because I remember hearing that and The Winner Takes It All, and I was like, that must be about whoever won the game. Whatever game it was that they were playing.
I like how you, as a child listening to ABBA, were already writing a musical about...
The judges said later on in the episode that they thought she'd been holding back a little bit.
Which I disagree with. I thought that was a great performance from her.
I think it's another one, like... I mean, I don't think you throw everything at the name of the game. I think there is a little bit of restraint in that.
Yeah.
And it was the acting that I enjoyed as much as anything else. She's got a great voice for Sophie. That's not something I've been questioning for a while now. I don't think she needed to continue to show vocal strength. I think we've seen that already. I think she's just showing how Sophie can you be with that material. I think that was the goal, and I think she achieved it.
And that's not a song that you're, like, having fun with, you know?
Yeah. Then we had Esme, who is the only of the Sophies in this semi-final to have previously fallen into the bottom two. She's had this narrative, this kind of storyline about nerves occasionally getting to her, but they were putting her last in this of all six, which said to me she was about to deliver something strong, because they like to finish with a good final performance. Yeah. She rehearsed in the dress. She's taken it seriously. She was giving rehearsal dress. And I wrote... So, early on in the series, she talked about being a taller gal.
Yes.
And this being something that caused her some issues with casting. Now, Tobias is a very tall boy.
He is.
So, interestingly, that's one option. Do you think Sophie can be taller than Sky?
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
They barely stand next to each other.
They're usually crawling on the ground.
There's a lot of crawling on the ground. He jumps up onto different, like, they're always jumping on different parts of the tavern, and like there's this little wall, and he's like, let me hop up here to sing this song. So that's fine. And then they stand next to each other briefly at the wedding that doesn't happen. And then they walk slowly towards the moon, but no one's looking at them because everyone's distracted by the really slow moon. So for this show in particular, I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters either. I mean, if we can have two couples in Hadestown where the woman is like a foot taller than the guy, then it doesn't matter.
And famously similar shows with famously similar vibes.
Yeah, totally.
Mamma Mia and Hadestown. Could you do the story of Hadestown with the music of ABBA?
They're both Greek.
They are both Greek! No, because the end of Hadestown is such a, like, you could so easily put The Winner Takes It All in there.
Yeah.
Our Last Summer. Last Summer.
Hades singing it to Persephone.
I can still recall our last
because
summer.
Now they don't spend summers together.
I fear we need to actually put this together. This is like one of those like annual, like the charity benefits they do in New York where all the shows do different skits.
Oh yeah, like the Easter bonnet.
Yeah, we need to pitch. This is an Easter bonnet waiting to happen. We need to pitch this. I did write, can they please stop putting her in a box? She already has a complex about being tall. They love to put Stephanie on a box.
They do.
I mean, there's putting people on pedestals, but this is ridiculous.
She started the song on stairs, like...
Yeah. We knew she was going to be performing Dancing Queen, but I noticed early on she was not wearing shoes, which says to me this is going to be a different version of Dancing Queen. This reference won't mean anything to you, but I said this is basically the Lily Allen John Lewis Christmas advert version of Dancing Queen. It was just kind of like slow and laid back. Do you want to share your thoughts of this arrangement? With all our love to the people doing these arrangements for the show.
I feel like it took the queen out of Dancing Queen.
Your exact words were, I hate it.
I did. I absolutely hated this arrangement.
But she did a lovely job of it.
She did a great job, but why would they do this to her?
This, I think, was her best vocal of the season.
That's very true.
Possibly her best performance of the entire season.
To the point that when I was watching this show on Monday, I was like, oh, that would sound great in Esme's voice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe I'd written her off the past couple of weeks, but this performance put her squarely back on the map for me. The vocal choices she made and the riffs she was putting in, I don't remember exactly them now, but I wrote jive with 6 eyes. So something nice happened there.
You can jive.
Actually, I wrote you are the dancing queen was nice. I don't know. I need to start voice noting these because like I can't. How do you take notes of a riff?
I mean, you know, if I was a professional, I'd probably write the notes, but I don't know. I can't.
That's too much. I'm not Natalie Weiss up in here. That's not. That was it. You are the dancing queen. Lovely.
That's great.
Soft, delicate. But that brings us to an end of all of our performances. And then pretty quickly, they said who was not going to be making it to the final. And it wasn't a huge surprise to us, at least, that the people we were saying goodbye to were Crefany.
Yeah.
Craig and Stephanie.
Both of them.
Both of them. And I feel like that made sense from, like, the past few weeks and from tonight. I like that no one went home for, like, a slip-up.
Yeah.
When they had been doing well. It felt like they came to the end of their road. And they've done really well by being on the show. It's given them this exposure. It's given them, hopefully, this boost within the industry, which is what these shows have always been great for.
Yeah.
Like we've had, I don't know if you know, there was I'd Do Anything, which was the TV show to cast Nancy and Oliver that Rachel Tucker came out of, and Jessie Buckley, who was in Cabaret, and Samantha Barks, who was a judge on this. None of them won.
Yeah.
They were all...
I don't even remember who won I'd Do Anything.
Jodie Prenger, but she hasn't done as much like international musical theatre or film or anything. She's in a TV show. She's doing very, very well. She's doing Gypsy next year in Manchester. Fun story. But so hopefully Stephanie and Craig have benefited from this, and they got a message from Cher.
They did.
What more can you ask for? They haven't quite made it to the final, but...
And they got officially married.
Yeah, now they're married, so they can begin this new chapter of their lives together with Craig's girlfriend and Stephanie's boyfriend also around, presumably. They got a goodbye song.
They did.
Got a little goodbye moment that everyone then joined in on, and... like, somewhat slightly unfortunately, I did think that this was Stephanie's best vocal of the programme. Which, again, that happens. That happens. When they used to sing those, like, goodbyes, a lot of their goodbyes, because they'd give it some, that was often the best vocal moment. And you're still on TV, so may as well just continue auditioning for the world. But also, no one else got that. No one else got a nice goodbye. I think that would have been nice to have every week.
Right.
Nice little goodbye number.
And the spelling bee. Goodbye, goodbye.
I haven't seen Spelling Bee. Listen, it's been done like once here. They did it at the Donmar for 5 minutes. They do it a lot at the Edinburgh Fringe.
That makes sense. It's like, does the UK not have spelling bees? Like, is that in itself not a thing?
I don't think... They're not a big thing. I don't think we do. I literally don't think we have spelling bees. Again, sound off in the comments, tiny people inside my camera. But now we can talk about who is actually making it to the final. And 3 of your week 1 picks.
Yeah.
Other than Maddie. Maddie was like the rogue wild card.
Well, and I also said, because I gave my week 1 top 4, and then I also said I really liked Darcy and I forget the other woman. But the fact that Darcy and Maddie were the first ones out, I was devastated. But then everybody else stayed, so... Everybody
else has been fine. I think I said Tobias, Stephanie, but then these past few weeks, I've been rooting for Stevie, and now post this one Esme performance, I'm like, it could really go anyway. I don't know, as far as the public is concerned, who is the most popular. Maybe people should comment on this video just to give us a bit of an insight.
Yeah.
Who are you voting for? If you're planning to vote, and I encourage you to do so, to exercise your democratic right, it's important to vote. That is the only way we can really affect substantial change within the principal cast of Mamma Mia. I'm going to be going house to house over the weekend and like canvassing, doing like voter registration. It'd be like, are you prepared to vote on Sunday for the live final of Mamma Mia? I Have a Dream. Just making sure that the nation is mobilized to utilize their voting power.
I can just see you with like a tablet and you have all the YouTube videos and you're like...
Yeah, if you want to watch like 7 hours of recaps to really give you a good... If anything, this is like a political level of analysis that we're doing right here.
Is it?
Well,
Yes.
Previous weeks we've done power ranking, but this would be... Should we do a power ranking? Of the few of them that are left. Obviously, at the bottom of each of the lists would be Craig and Stephanie,
Right.
because being eliminated from the competition does impact your ability to go on to win.
Just a little bit.
Do we still think Tobias is in the strongest position?
I do.
Yeah. He has topped this power ranking every week.
And Owen is great. I would not be mad if he got Sky, but I just feel like Tobias is Sky.
I think there was one week. I think the first week the boys performed, Owen might have been in a stronger position than Tobias. That I'm calling him Sky.
He already...
He is the most obvious choice.
Right.
Which is not to say that he's not talented. He's obvious choice because of his talent and like the tone that he brings to it with the acting and the vocals and like the aesthetic. He looks and sounds a lot like how Sky already is. He would fit very comfortably and very easily. He could go into it tomorrow.
Literally.
And that would be fine. Owen would be a slightly different take on the character.
Which I almost would like to see.
Which I would welcome because, again, it is such a small component of the show that it would be refreshing and it would be interesting. But we'll have to see. I think I'm tempted to expect that the public would vote for a Tobias because the public usually vote for the most... the closest thing to what they know of the character. Usually. But then Owen is Irish, I believe. So whether he's going to have all of Ireland voting behind it. We've seen people do well in these competitions before, being from like being Welsh or being Scottish.
Interesting.
And then having like, if they corner that entire part of the UK, does that...
Well, Tobias is going to have one American, so...
Are you allowed to vote?
Am I? I mean, I'm here.
I do, yeah. I have questions about this voting process, actually, because it's a live final.
Oh, right. Like, are they going to perform and then everybody has 15 minutes to vote?
Because in previous years, they've done the programme and then, like, they've done a results show either the next night or later or, like, hours later to give people hours to vote while other programmes would be on. That's like when it was on the BBC, that's what they did. I remember voting for Daniel Hope to win Over the Rainbow because my parents were away and they didn't know how much I was spending on the telephone. It wasn't that much. I voted like 5 times. It's like £12.50 or something like that.
I was like, why is our phone bill £100?
Yeah. Because Danielle needs to be Dorothy. And then I remember they announced Hannah Waddingham was the Wicked Witch and I was like, you know what, I really don't care who's Dorothy at this point because nothing else matters.
Wow, that would have been an incredible production.
It was really cool. They flew her in from the skylight of the London Palladium. What were we talking about before I said
Voting, the voting process.
Voting. But we said Tobias probably in the stronger position of the two boys. I really don't know how it falls with Stevie and Esme.
I don't either.
I'm leaning Stevie still.
I'm leaning Stevie still too.
I think she's really exciting. I mean, they both are. I'm leaning Stevie for Sophie. I'm really excited to see Esme in stuff. But...
yeah. But it was weird because after seeing the show, because my thing with Stevie is I always felt like she had really good chemistry with Tobias, which I think she does. Like they work very naturally together, and I don't think Tobias has that with Esme. But
it's tricky because the 1 week of Tobias and Esme was the Who Wants to Live Forever.
Right.
The weirdly staged number.
It was a horrible number. Esme has been given like the worst songs and still performs them beautifully. But after seeing the show, that's such a small component, and I almost want to hear Esme's vocals in the show more.
It's interesting that they never had them do any challenges with like dad stand-ins, because she spends a lot of time with the dads.
Yeah.
Like, she does have scenes with Donna, and that relationship is really important, so they had Maz come over, but she does spend a lot of time with the dads.
Yeah, like Name of the Game is a To Her Dad's song.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, we talked about like it being like the idea of it being too easy to work out which dad it was. If like Esme's there with this short man and Maz isn't that tall, it's gonna be like, I don't think you're the dad. I don't think it's like Danny DeVito is playing Bill and he's like, Sophie, I'm your dad. I'm like, I just don't think he is.
Could be a recessive gene somewhere in a...
This is a level of like biological analysis that no one has ever considered in Mamma Mia before, because the concept of a paternity test doesn't even exist within the world of this show.
I mean, I'm just thinking like two little people can have like a tall child, so...
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
So Danny DeVito could birth Esme.
Danny DeVito could still be...
Danny DeVito's daughter is a lot taller than he is. Because she's in I Need That with him.
Oh, there you go. I really don't know. So like I said, I'm backing Stevie, but my dad is backing Esme. He WhatsApped me about it right after it was on the other night.
Wow.
I don't know.
I could go either way.
Yeah.
And
which is quite exciting.
Stevie, but I don't know. Esme's grown on me.
Yeah. I don't dislike any of them. I'd still be excited to go and cheer them on in Mummy. At the end of the day, there's still none of them are playing the most important role in the show, or the one I really care about the most. So it is also still Mamma Mia. That's something I think that we need to be mindful of throughout this process. Having spent, God, like 7 hours talking about these episodes now, it is just Mamma Mia.
It is. And neither of them are the leads, so I mean, I guess it's kind of Sophie.
Yeah. But we don't really know what to expect from the live final in many senses. We know that they have pre-recorded some performances in Greece. I think this will be to allow them to switch around the staging for the live final of the show in the Novello Theatre. Oh God, we're going to see the ugly blue walls again, aren't we?
Your favourite.
Are they going to do it on the Mamma Mia set? Because normally when they do these concerts and things on the sets of other shows, they hide it. When I went to the Stage Awards at Theatre Royal Drury Lane, disappointingly, they did not present the awards in Elsa's Ice Palace.
Wow, disappointing.
I know. But for this, it is Mamma Mia, so they don't need to hide the taverna. They could actually... They could use that.
Well, and when they showed the audition footage in the theater, they just had the blue walls, but there was no...
Scarred by these blue walls. If I had more time, I would go and get a custom suit made that's just that print, just all over, just the blue...
For the finale.
Just the blue stripes. Yeah. And beg for an onstage photo op just so I can stand on the wall and just be like... I am Mamma Mia. Which of them do you think will look better in the green top?
Tobias.
I was going to say, the correct answer is no one. Anyway, I feel like that's all that we have to say about this week's Mamma Mia. I Have a Dream. The final is going to be a little bit different. I will hopefully be making some kind of a video about it, so stay tuned for that here on my channel. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, and go and subscribe, follow, actively engage with Kate Reinking on various different social media platforms. Go watch the TikToks, go check out the new Wait in the Wings Sondheim documentary. I will put Kate's YouTube channel linked in the description of this video. Go and follow for some American theatrical flavour.
Ooh.
Thank you so much for joining us for this week's recap. I hope that everyone has enjoyed. Comment all of your thoughts down below. And I hope that everyone is staying safe and that you have a stagey day. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
For 10 more seconds, I'm MickeyJoTheatre. Oh my god, hey. Thanks for watching. Have a stagey day. Subscribe!